Right, so WWE Black Friday and their mass firings are upon us once again. This is a thing that happens every year seemingly now after WrestleMania, with dozens of wrestlers at a time being cut due to budget cuts, and this year is no different, with 12 wrestlers, maybe 13 wrestlers, one unconfirmed, being released from the WWE. And I think a lot of the names on this list are actually very surprising names to see. So yeah, there's 12 names that have all been confirmed to have been released and departing WWE, and we're gonna go over all of them today and talk about potentially what the future of a few of them could be. So like the video, as the first people that were announced as being released from the WWE were Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, who were one of the only women's teams going in WWE, and by the end of this list, there are pretty much no women's teams left in WWE other than Liv and Raquel. They're former women's tag team champions, they were a good team in WWE. I hope they continue to team outside of WWE as well, and I can't really say what they've done in the last year or so. I can't really remember anything they've done in WWE. It feels like they weren't really given much of a chance. The next name that was found out to be released from the WWE was an even more surprising name, as it was found out that Braun Strowman had now also lost his job. And I don't know, I'm just surprised because I think Braun Strowman kind of established himself as a pretty strong hand in the last year or so, and he had been wrestling pretty actively and just recently got absolutely roasted by Paul Heyman at the roast of WrestleMania, being called trash in front of thousands, just to be released about a week or two later. That is just so tough. But yeah, Braun Strowman goes down with a pretty solid career. He was the Universal Champion at one point, though definitely too late. He definitely should have beaten Brock for the belt at one point. And I think Braun Strowman is a guy that Billy Corgan literally should really break the bank for. If Control Your Narrative isn't coming back, then let's get Braun Strowman and EC3 to reunite in the NWA. And then an even more shocking name that came out right after was Dakota Kai. This is the second time in 3 years that Dakota Kai has been released from the WWE. She was the very first hiring of the Triple H era, as Triple H brought her back to WWE to be a part of Damage Control, where she had some women's tag title reigns, but other than that, she was always a side piece in the group and was never really given much of a chance. It feels like they had an opportunity with the women's IC title when she made the final for that, but she didn't win it, and once again, hasn't really been seen on TV doing anything since. And she recently tweeted out saying that she wasn't injured and kind of confirming that she's basically on the bench, and now days later WWE have released her, so clearly they just had no plans for her whatsoever. And Dakota Kai now goes down as a two-time WWE fumble. I would love to see Dakota Kai in DPW fresh out of WWE. That would be so fun. In general, obviously I love to see her in AEW and on a TV company as well, maybe even TNA, but I would love to see her do an indie run where she just wrestles everywhere before that as well. Shayna Bazsler also got released. Shayna Bazsler, her entire main roster run has been so botched. She was so dominant in NXT, and then they just didn't have her beat Becky Lynch, and then after that, it's just been kind of downhill ever since. I can only remember that she was a women's tag champion with Nia Jax, and other than that, I literally can't recall anything else she did in WWE. Oh yeah, other than the stuff with Ronda Rousey, of course, and Pure Fusion Collective as well, the greatest stable in women's history. That is sarcasm. Yeah, Shayna Bazsler is a great worker, never really given a fair shake on the main roster, and she had a great indie career before coming to WWE, so definitely she'll be welcomed with open arms wherever she goes. Gigi Dolan was also released, and this is so surprising because she's been so active on NXT TV recently. She literally wrestled at Stand and Deliver, and she's also been very active on TNA as part of the NXT TNA partnership. She did the stuff with Toxic Attraction, Mandy Rose and JC Jane. She was a tag champion alongside JC and had this Chemical X stable going alongside Shotzi and Tatum Paxley, which I thought was a pretty cool stable, but now I guess it's finished and WWE just doesn't want any women's tag teams for whatever reason, despite the fact they have belts for them. No way those tag belts last much longer, right? Come to think of it, Liv Morgan is like leaving soon to do a movie. She's one half of the champs. Do they just deactivate the belts? I reckon they might. And then Cora Jade would confirm herself that she had also been released, and this is so surprising to see because Cora Jade seemed like someone who was always kind of in the upper mid-card near main event scene of the NXT women's division, always kind of one bit away from winning a title but just kind of never did. Really surprising to see, and Cora Jade is still only 24, and I think AEW could absolutely bring in Elena Black. I think the only issue is that people would have to be patient with it because she's not going to be a star instantly if she does turn up in AEW, and people have to be mindful that she's only 24. There is still so much time in her career, which makes me not understand why WWE wouldn't want to keep her. Riley Osborne was also confirmed to be released. He's an NXT wrestler who I'm not super familiar with. I think I remember him being in Chase U, if I remember correctly. It feels like a lot of people that came in at the start of NXT 2.0 are slowly starting to go. Obviously Cora, Gigi, now Riley as well, and obviously Eddie Thorpe as well also confirmed himself that he is gone from WWE as well. And I felt like he's another guy that was getting loads of TV time as of recent, so it's kind of surprising to see him go. But before he was in WWE, he was known as Carl Fredericks, and he's a New Japan LA Dojo graduate and worked for New Japan for 7 years prior. So coming out of WWE, I would hope that New Japan still has a spot for Carl Fredericks to come back. Then another very shocking one was Jakara Jackson, another wrestler who's been on TV a lot recently for NXT and TNA as well. She was part of the Meta 4 alongside Oro Mensah, Noam Dar and Lash Legend, and herself and Lash had a team, and it felt like they were really rising up together as a homegrown WWE team, but then they just randomly all broke up this past Tuesday on NXT, and now Jakara Jackson has been released from WWE. I don't understand why WWE always wants to break up teams. Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend could have lasted for a long time. Seriously though, beyond the New Day, what WWE forms tag team in recent years have lasted like more than a couple of years? I can't think of any. And Jakara Jackson wasn't the only one from the Meta 4 to be released, as Oro Mensah was also released, meaning the Meta 4 are now the Meta 2. I actually remember Oro Mensah from NXT UK. He was an NXT UK tag champion, if anyone even remembers or knows that. And he had a good spot as part of the Meta 4, but after the Meta 4 broke up, I feel like WWE were just never going to have any sort of plans for him, and that's kind of why they broke up that group, because they have no plans for them whatsoever. But himself and Jakara are very talented, and I hope they do land themselves back on their feet. As the final confirmed release from WWE is Danny Palmer. Danny Palmer is a developmental wrestler in WWE who I know has been around NXT TV, never really been an established character though, and recently went back down to Evolve. So seemingly, I guess WWE could just never figure out what her place was in the company. I know she had her injuries as well, and that definitely probably affected things too. So best wishes to her and everyone I've already mentioned on this list. I hope to see them all land back on their feet in the various companies and options that there are now in the wrestling landscape. I hate being that guy that does that kind of fantasy booking, but just because I already know everyone's going to ask and speculate, if I had to pick anyone that AEW should sign, I'd say Dakota Kai is definitely worth bringing in, and so is Cora Jade. I think Dakota Kai could slot into an upper mid-card position immediately, whereas Cora Jade could have more of a slower rise. Just once again, I fear that people would not be patient with that. And yeah, TNA could definitely use a lot of these people as well, so I definitely hope to see all these people getting work and back on TV soon. But there is one more unconfirmed release. It's not been actually confirmed or reported on yet if they're gone, but Shotzi has been moved to the alumni section on WWE.com, and if she's gone, then that is also a shame, because that means that now Tatum Paxley is the only one left of that Chemical X stable, which again, I thought was a cool little trio. There aren't many women's trios in WWE anymore. I think the only teams left in WWE in terms of women's teams now are literally Liv Morgan and Raquel, with Liv now inactive, and the Fatal Influence in NXT. I genuinely think that's literally it. Am I wrong? Are there any other women's tag teams in WWE right now? But yeah, I think Shotzi's another person that can get back on TV instantly. She is a fantastic worker, had a very extensive career pre-WWE as well. And again, that's even if she is released. We don't actually know that yet. It's not been confirmed here or there. But yeah, that is every single release from WWE so far confirmed and the one unconfirmed. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on this round of WWE Black Friday budget cut releases and firings. Do you think any of these were fumbles? Do you think all of them were fumbles? I definitely think a lot of the people on this list were fumbles. Just to list them actually: Katana, Kaden, Dakota, Shayna, Gigi and Cora, I think, and Jakara are for sure people they definitely could have done better with. Let me know in the comments your thoughts as well. I'd love to hear you guys sound off, and like the video if you did enjoy. Subscribe with notifications on so you never miss a video. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye, and keep on rolling.